For more of the battered and burned murder retrial for Linda Stermer, on the stand now is a neighbor, a guy by the name of Ken Thompson.
Okay. Yes. But you was very familiar with the geographical layout of the property, right? And the house itself, could you describe the sloping of the house? Was it flat or was it an incline?
No, on the sides of the house it sloped down, you know, with a walkout basement.
Okay.
I would say that it was about a one-story drop from, you know, the sides of the house down to the basement entrance.
Okay. And so when you arrived on the property as a result of the telephone call from your wife's cousin, you stated that you immediately saw smoke from the chimney?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see any flames from the chimney?
No.
But you saw smoke?
Yes.
Was it a large ball of smoke?
No. I thought that initially that it was a chimney fire because it was the smoke was coming right out the chimney chase, and that's the only smoke that I saw. So I thought maybe they just had a chimney fire.
Were you familiar with chimney fires?
Yes.
Have you ever served on the fire department before?
No.
Okay. But you've seen a chimney fire before?
Many.
Okay. Were there, could you give an estimate time frame as to, if you can recall, when you and your wife arrived? What would you say the guesstimation of your time when you arrived?
When we arrived?
On the property.
I'm not sure.
You left cutting the wood.
Yes.
About 3 or 4?
Yeah, 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you say it was after 5 o'clock then, right? When you would have arrived at the Stermers property?
That I couldn't say. I didn't look at a watch.
Okay. And did you pull into the property off of the road?
Yes, we pulled just off the road, and then, like I say, we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to hinder any fire vehicles, so we kind of got out of the way. We made sure our vehicles were out of the way.
Okay. And by the time that you're parking your vehicle, you begin to see smoke coming from another part of the house?
Well, it didn't take very long, and then there was smoke coming out windows.
Okay. And you saw that after you got out of your vehicle, is that right?
Right.
Okay. And these windows, they face the frontage of the road, is that right?
And on the sides.
And on the sides?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I noticed the smoke coming out the windows on the side.
Okay. But you didn't see any fire trucks there at that time? Right?
No, just Chief Leach was there with the chief's truck.
Okay. So what did you do when you saw the smoke coming out of the windows, you see the smoke coming out of the chimney, you and your wife get out of your vehicle? What do you do then?
Well, I saw Linda in the driveway, and I quickly went to Linda. I was concerned for the children, and, I said, Linda, where's the children? And at first she was kind of incoherent, and I thought that the children would be inside, so I was kind of headed for the door, and she said, no, there's nobody in there. The children, I forget where she said they were.
Okay, when you saw Miss Stermer, was she with somebody else? Or
No,
was
she was by
standing
herself.
there by herself?
She was by herself.
And where were You said Mr. Leach was there. Where was he at?
He was just to the north of the driveway, and he was on the ground.
Okay.
And at first I thought maybe he was working on some equipment, you know, a fire extinguisher or whatever. I didn't recognize that it was a body.
Okay. And did you see anyone else there?
No.
Just Mr. Leach and Miss
Right.
Stermer?
Right.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so after you were comfortable with the fact that there was no one else in the house, the children wasn't in the house, nobody else was in the house, what did you do then?
Oh, I just waited for the fire department to arrive. And it wasn't very long, and they arrived.
Okay. And you know which fire department it was that arrived?
Lawrence.
Lawrence? Okay. And did you ever go over to the location where Mr. Stermer was lying on the ground?
No, I avoided it.
Okay. Okay. From the position that you were at, did you detect any unusual odor?
No.
Okay. Now, where was the van parked at?
It was behind the house. It was down the hill and around behind the house. You couldn't see it from the front of the house.
Okay. Okay. And what was the ground like?
It was slippery. It was kind of muddy.
Kinda, or was it muddy?
Well, it was muddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And at that time, was it still raining?
It had started to rain after we were there a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you recall the clothing that Miss Stermer had on?
I do.
Okay. Could you describe what you saw?
She had a T-shirt, gym shorts, and white socks. Just socks, no shoes.
And shorts. And a T-shirt.
Yes.
What would you estimate, just based upon your feelings of the weather then, what would you estimate the temperature to have been at that time when you arrived?
At that time when I saw Linda, I don't know. I'm not sure. I couldn't say. But the temperature was dropping fast.
Dropping fast?
Yeah.
Okay.
It started out as rain, and then it started to spit snow, rain mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you were there when some of the law enforcement officers arrived, or were you?
I really didn't notice them. You know, I was with the firefighters. I heard the sirens and everything coming. I did see one deputy's vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were familiar with some of the personnel of the fire department, is that right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Had you ever worked in the fire department?
I never did. No.
Okay.
They asked me to join, but I thought they'd be better served with spending their training money on a younger person. But several times I've, just been on scene just to assist in any way, carry a ladder, carry a hose, do whatever.
It's a volunteer.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
My wife was on the township board, and she was, it's a small town, and everybody kind of helps each other.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why the motto is "We grow together," right?
Yes.
Yes. Now, you stated in direct that someone asked you to watch the van.
Yes.
Do you recall who?
The deputy asked the assistant chief, Doug Harrington, and Doug Harrington asked me to help in that.
So you saying the deputy
Had asked Doug Harrington to make sure that no water got sprayed on there and nobody, touched the van. And he asked me to help him in that.
Okay. So in putting out the fire, they wanted to make sure that the van didn't get hit with the water. Is that what they were talking about?
Right.
But you wasn't directed to move the van, though, right?
I don't think you could have, because it was that muddy. I don't know if you could have moved the van.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think you would have had to have it towed.
Okay. And so approximately how long did you remain on the scene?
Like I say, we didn't get home. It was pretty late. It was pretty late. I would say we were there 5 hours.
Okay. And you recall someone bringing Miss Stermer some clothes, right?
I know the girls, Linda wanted my wife's Aunt Gail to bring her some clothes and shoes, and she just wanted her there maybe for comfort or whatever.
Okay. Okay. And so, since 2007, you haven't had to speak of this case to anyone in law enforcement?
No one in law enforcement.
And on that date, did any of the law enforcements that arrived, did any of them take an interview statement from you?
No.
Okay. Just a second.
All right, a little break in the action there in the courtroom. We'll slip at a commercial break, get you back for more of the neighbor who was there when the fire was burning. Stay with us. You got 9 months of testimony, right? 4.5 hours, you come back and say, we got a verdict.
Not guilty of the crime of murder.
They're going to blame all this on you.
In this case, the jury was sequestered for 9 months.
Oh, God.
These people were too beat down to even try to fight for their own conviction.
Trial and Error. Why did O.J. win? A Court TV original series. Season finale Sunday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Court TV.
Physicians Mutual.
The murder trial for Linda Stermer continues in the state of Michigan. A jury back in 2010 found her guilty of murdering her husband, Todd. She served 8 years in prison, but then a judge agreed with Stermer's lawyers that she didn't get a fair trial the first time around. So here we are, round 2. Prosecutors say Linda and Todd had a troubled marriage, and Todd was beaten, set on fire, poisoned, and then when he got himself out of the burning house, which was their house, the defendant ran him over. Now, she says she ran him over, yes, but it was an accident because of the chaos. She didn't see him. Let's go back to court now for more of the cross-examination of the neighbor who was on the scene, Ken Thompson.
Thompson, let me, you recall the fact that there was two dogs at the house?
I saw one dog.
You saw one dog?
Yes.
Were you part of rescuing the dogs?
Yes. While we were standing down there by the van, the basement window had been broken out, and the dog kept jumping through the window into the fire. I think the dog was just traumatized, and it kept jumping back and forth in and out of the window, and we were trying to catch it.
Did you have to go inside to get him?
No.
Okay.
No.
But you was able to ultimately rescue him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then we kept the dog for Linda and the children.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And did you see anything on the van in reference to any type of blood on the van?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you see that at?
As I remember, it was down the front of the van, and then on the bumper, and then kind of, it seems like, to the best of my recollection, it was led underneath the van.
Underneath the van?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get down and look up underneath the van?
Well, I didn't get down on my knees or anything.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Was it just on the front, or?
That's all I saw was
Just on the front?
On the front,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. But you don't know what caused the blood to be on the van?
I had no idea.
And you don't know what caused the fire?
No idea.
Okay. And my last question, when you said you first approached Linda Stermer, you stated that she was traumatized, in your opinion?
Yes.
Okay. And she couldn't speak, or did she speak?
Well,
to you?
she could speak, but she wasn't making a lot of sense. She was sobbing, and, when I first asked her where the children were, I think her response was, I don't know. And that's what led me to, I was going to go through the front door and see if I could do anything for the children. But then as I headed for the door, she told me, no, there's nobody in there. The children are somewhere.
While you were on the location, where was the great amount of flames and smoke that you identified while you were present there?
Well, I was toward the back of the house with Doug Harrington, and so that's where I saw the most flames.
From the back of the house?
Right.
Okay.
But I don't know at that time what was going on with the front of the house. I was, in the back.
Okay.
Good, are you done? Okay. Ms. Seidel?
Thank you, Your Honor. So I just want to clarify, when you first got there, you saw the smoke on the top. There were no holes in the roof at that time.
No.
Fire hadn't broken through
Just
yet?
smoke. Yeah.
Okay. And was Mr. Matheny, did I remember you saying he was there?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was him, but I recognized the truck, and it was off to the side. He was kind of off to the side.
Okay, so he was there when you and Steve Leach were there as well?
Yes.
Okay. And did you smell the fire?
Did I smell the fire?
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I recall smelling anything.
Don't remember.
No.
And you arrived, were there law enforcement at the end of the driveway when you arrived?
I don't recall.
And you didn't put your name on a list or anything while you were on scene?
No, nobody asked me anything that night.
And you left then before you actually talked to the law enforcement?
Right. Yeah, when the fire department left, we left.
So you were actually kind of with the firemen and helping them out?
Yes.
So the dog was jumping in the basement window?
It was. Probably 4 or 5 times.
Did the dog get burnt?
No, the dog would jump through the window, and then the flames would drive it back and jump out the window, and then we'd try to catch it, and it would run around a circle and jump back in the window.
So there weren't any flames coming out the window?
No, but you could see flames inside.
And if I told you that the dispatch call came in around 3:30, would that surprise you?
No, it was, that seems appropriate.
Seems about right time?
Yes.
In terms of the events of that day?
Yes.
Fits in with your cutting of the firewood?
Right.
So I'm guessing, were you looking at a watch or a clock?
Not at all.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Every day is work from daylight to dark.
I have no further questions.